Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Chapter 21. Li Shuibao's whole card, the Dragon Clan is alive. This time the Li family, in order to allow Li Shuibao to get a good result in the final assessment. He did not hesitate to spend a lot of money to get Lei Bin, the number 1 in Jincheng number 1 middle school. Escort for Li Shuibao. Being able to invite Lei Bin to work for the Li family shows that the Li family is also the top power in the Zhongbei area. And at this time, Lei Bin is fighting against a night civilization. Although this planet has transformed extraordinary energy, and the commander of the knights also has silver level strength. But in front of Lei Bin, poor and weak, Lei Bin, the awakener with the highest talent in Jincheng number 1 middle school, when the planet was awakened, its diameter reached 58 kilometers, which was stronger than Lu Ruyan in Weicheng number 1 middle school. It can be called the number 1 person in the 9th district. The most frightening thing is that the extraordinary energy he transformed is Dragon Chi. It is the Dragon Civilization. Dragon Civilization is not like civilizations like Magic and Immortal Civilization. Although they are both super civilizations, they are Dragon Civilizations. There are no periods of weakness. Even the firstborn Earth Dragon still has a very strong fighting power, comparable to normal brass units. Moreover, the Dragon Civilization, even in the later stage, can still keep pace with civilizations such as cultivating immortals and magic. So in a sense, Dragon Civilization is better than Comprehension and Magic Civilization. The advantage is greater, and now Lei Bin has created a flying dragon. At this time, Lei Bin is packing up the spoils. This is already the 5th planet he has conquered. But at this moment, a message came from the base station on his planet. The communicator that can make interstellar calls alone is worth a lot. See the message. Lei Bin couldn't help frowning. After all, he didn't have any good feelings for Li Shuibao, but it was hindered by the influence of their Li family. He had to agree. Didn't expect to meet an unmatched opponent so soon. He thought to himself, although Li Shuibao's character is indeed not good, but relying on the power of his family, although his power is not top-notch, it has reached a first-class level. I don't know which school is the top 3. Lei Bin thought secretly in his heart. Then drive the flying dragon to discard all unimportant resources except for the necessary supplies. After spending a few minutes cleaning the battlefield, a star bridge was built towards the planet where Li Shuibao was located according to the positioning. When Lei Bin entered Li Shuibao's world, even he, who has always been calm, couldn't help being shocked for 5 seconds before reacting. How is this going? I saw that there were no living creatures on the entire planet, and as for valuable resources, there were no shadows. Why isn't there even a blade of grass left? Lei Bin didn't know how to describe his current mood. After all, even in the official interstellar war, such utter looting could never have occurred. Not to mention resources. Even the stones that Li Shuibao used to build the warrior town were all removed. Have you been ransacked by interstellar pirates? Lei Bin asked Li Shuibao through the communicator. Because he really couldn't think of a second possibility. After all, there is no vitality, no resources at all. It turned out that the civilization that Li Shuibao had developed was wiped out in ashes, without even a single hair left. Waste star. If Li Shuibao's planet hadn't transformed into super energy, this planet would be a real waste star. And even if civilization can be developed again in the future, the price paid is also great. After a long time, Li Shuibao's exasperated voice sounded from the other end. Lei Bin, you must help me destroy his planet. I will make him completely unable to turn over this time. Feeling the viciousness in Li Shuibao's tone, Lei Bin felt a little strange. Judging from his tone, his planet seems to have been plundered by the students. But this is too exaggerated. In the entire planet, not even a square stone can be found. It is simply too exaggerated. Even the real interstellar robbers would feel ashamed when they saw it. Although Lei Bin looked down on Li Shuibao from the bottom of his heart, he had to consider the Li family standing behind him, so he could only nod in agreement. These are the coordinates of his planet. With that said, Li Shuibao sent Lei Bin the current coordinates of Zhang Hao's planet. Because among the resources that Zhang Hao plundered, Li Shuibao added a positioning device, and he was here waiting for Lei Bin. My materials, my resources, my warrior civilization are gone, everything is gone, and the most annoying thing is that Zhang Hao pulled out all the turf he made in front of him. Because Zhang Hao's order to Amosi is, don't leave even a hair on him. Regarding the instructions of the gods, Amosi did not dare to be a little sloppy, so under the blessing of Saiyan's terrifying execution ability in the universal capsule, Li Shuibao's planet turned into a ghost planet. Maybe even ghosts don't want to live there, because it is so desolate. In the past, he also mocked Zhang Hao's planet as a ruined planet. And now his planet, worse than ruins. After all, there are still available resources on the ruins and his planet. Thinking of this, Li Shuibao spat out a mouthful of old blood angrily. To restore his planet to its original state, it would take a lot of money. Even their Li family would bleed a lot. Thinking of the culprit of all this, Li Shuibao couldn't suppress his anger anymore. Lei Bin, that kid's combat unit is incredibly powerful in melee combat. It's not comparable to the existing recorded races, even better than your dragon clan. Stronger. Lei Bin's face changed when he heard Li Shuibao's words. But it could be heard from Li Shuibao's tone that he was not joking. Is everything you said true? Hearing Li Shuibao's description, Lei Bin fell into deep thought. He is not Li Shuibao's kind of waste who can only rely on his family. As his strength improved, every step was down to earth. After awakening a 58-kilometer diameter planet, he was not proud, and even after transforming into dragon energy, he still didn't feel that he was standing on the top. So now he has begun to think about tactics against Zhonghao Saiyan civilization. Are they invincible only in close combat? Lei Bin asked Li Shuibao in a deep voice. Right. For such a long time, his combat subordinates are only strong in melee combat, and I have already asked the relationship to inquire about his recent situation, and he has even been to the Awakened Association. The information from the Awakened Association also shows that his race is only in close combat and has terrible combat effectiveness. Really, as the eldest son of the Li family, Li Shuibao can mobilize a wide range of resources. In such a short time, all the information on Zhang Hao has been investigated. Hearing this, Lei Bin's face softened. After all, Dragon Clan. But the king of air combat, even if Zhang Hao relies on aircraft to fight in the air, he cannot possibly be his opponent. You may even become your own living target. You send me his coordinates, and I'll rush there now. Chapter 22. And Zhang Hao who did it all. At this moment, the loot has just been cleaned up. Although there is an armor, it is much weaker than the 9th generation machine of Kaza Star, let alone the magic outfit. Zhang Hao looked at the shattered pieces of the mecha and muttered to himself. After all, Kaza Star has barely been able to enter the ranks of the second-level civilization. Just at this time, he was keenly aware that there was an extra star bridge on his planet. I don't know which unlucky guy actually ran to Vegeta to plunder resources. It's fine if I don't rob you. The thought of grabbing Zhang Hao can think of Li Shuibao. He could imagine Li Shuibao, watching him scour all his resources little by little, and then he was helpless in pain. Who is it this time? Looking at the star bridge slowly appearing. What a big lizard. In Zhang Hao's memory, dragons are very mysterious creatures. Available here, dragons turned into large lizards with elder wings. Because for high-level civilizations like the Dragon Clan, the history books will not record them in detail, only the basic appearance. As for the attack methods and classifications, they will naturally be mentioned in one stroke. It is equivalent to the suppression of a higher civilization. A civilization with only low-level energy conversion. History books will record in detail. Looking at the big lizard in front of him, Zhang Hao took a while to confirm it. Dragon Clan. A powerful race with almost no disadvantages, whether it is attack, defense, long-distance combat, or close combat, it is the best. It can be called the strongest species in the known universe. Zhang Hao looked at the Dragon Clan in front of him and began to think about countermeasures. But at this moment, a flying dragon actually spoke. Ha 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 ha! Exclamation mark. This is the Dragon Clan. It's really a super civilization, the Dragon Clan civilization. No matter what, you can't win this time. Grade level, we have 3 gold level flying dragons here, and more than a dozen silver level flying dragons. I'll see how you die this time. How dare you strip my planet to the ground? If I don't turn your planet into ruins, my surname will not be Li, and as far as I know, your planet has not transformed extraordinary energy. Once plundered, it is impossible to stand up again. After all, the original liquid is something that has a price but no market. Even Li Shuibao's family had to spend a lot of effort to get it. And Zhang Hao doesn't have such ability at all. In other words, once Zhang Hao's civilization is destroyed, it is impossible to rebuild it. Become an ordinary person for a lifetime. Thinking of this, Li Shuibao's eyes became fierce. After all, not long ago, his planet was a highly developed civilization. But because of being robbed by Zhang Hao, it directly became a waste star. If you don't put Zhang Hao in a more miserable situation, there is no way to appease his anger. As for Lei Bin, who was watching from the sidelines, looking at Saiyan in front of him, there was a thoughtful look on his face. Although it has one more tail than normal humans. But he didn't see from it what makes this species superior to other life. After all, the elves are also humanoid races. I am Lei Bin from Jincheng No. 1 Middle School. This battle will happen regardless of whether there is Li Shuibao or not, so. When it comes to this, a crimson beam shot out from the dragon's mouth. Even though Lei Bin seemed to have gained an absolute advantage, he was still ready to strike when Zhang Hao lost his focus. Zhang Hao watched the scene in front of him. His face froze. After all, it was also his first time facing the dragon civilization. When they played against Song Yuanchao before, they almost suffered a big loss. Not to mention the stronger Lei Bin. For long-range attacks, Amosi and others experienced it many times when they conquered Kaza Star. So watching the flying red light, none of the Saiyans showed panic. Lei Bin looked at Saiyan, who reacted quickly. His complexion changed slightly. So fast. Although it is a silver level, this speed is obviously much faster than the general silver level. As for that Saiyan with an indifferent face, even without any hint, it can also be seen that he is the leader of this group of people. Because he just stood there, he can feel that he has a colder temperament than other Saiyans. Amosi looked calm, looking at the strange creature above, although it was the first time he had seen such a creature. But there was no panic. Open black lens bracket artificial moon. Close black lens bracket. The blue's light needed to transform Saiyan Great Ape in hand. So under Lei Bin's horrified eyes, 10 Saiyans become twice as tall as before. Looking at Saiyan from Great Ape, Lei Bin felt a little pressure, but then thought of what Li Shuibao said. Saiyan is only melee invincible. So he commanded 10 silver-level flying dragons to rush towards 10 Saiyan subordinates. The silver-level flying dragon is 10 meters long, much taller than the subordinates of the Great Ape. Bang, bang, boom. In Zhang Hao's opinion, there is a feeling of King Kong versus Godzilla, although the size of the flying dragon is much larger than Saiyan of Great Ape. At the moment of the battle, he lost the wind. But Lei Bin didn't intend to defeat Zhang Hao just by relying on close combat. Although I don't know where this Zhang Hao came from, it's just the fighting power he's showing now has surpassed most geniuses. But that's it. The dragon civilization is not only physically strong, but more importantly, they are the kings of air combat. Saiyan cannot fly, and can only be tortured to death in their attacks. Ha ha ha. Damn Zhang Hao, I didn't want to hit you and hide such a trick, but you are still finished. Li Shuibao's arrogant voice sounded. Hearing Li Shuibao's words, Zhang Hao's face was not at all calm. Lack of means for long-distance combat. He smiled, without any urgency, and looked at Amosi. Amosi looked at the flying dragon covering the sky and the sun, with a calm expression. He had already roughly understood the fighting style of this creature. Although physically strong, but the way of attack is not as flexible as Saiyan. Even the most ordinary Saiyan can completely suppress them in melee combat, and their biggest advantage is the wings behind them. The fiery dragon's breath sprayed out of the air by them is also very powerful. 1,000 points. This is more than 3 times the combat power of the general silver level, and Saiyan's subordinate combat power was only 500 points when it reached silver. Other warriors and knights even only have about 200 or 300 points. Watching Saiyan, who is gradually falling into a disadvantage, is subordinate. Amosi moved. Qigong bomb. Saiyan gathers the Qi energy in his body on the palm of his hand to form a huge blue-white energy ball, and finally launches it out through the palm of his hand. Close black lens bracket. So Amosi, with an indifferent face, slowly raised his palm. A blue ball of light flew out, shooting through the 2 flying dragons hovering in the air at an unimaginable speed. What it is? Lei Bin was shocked. Looking in the direction from which the light ball was emitted, what I saw was Amosi's indifferent pupils and slowly retracted palms. What was that thing just now, that it shot through 2 silver-level flying dragons with one blow? Lei Bin's expression also changed significantly at this moment. Then under Lei Bin's gaze, a second blue light ball began to appear in Amosi's hand. Again, Chapter 23. Amosi, as a super soldier in Saiyan, has already reached the combat effectiveness under normal conditions. 6,000. Even if the current silver-level flying dragon already has 400 combat power, it can even emit a dragon's breath with 1,000 combat power. But in front of Amosi, there is only one result. Was spiked. This is also the reason why he deliberately controlled the consumption of chi. If Amosi made a full-strength attack, not to mention a silver-level flying dragon, even a gold level 1, the same will be killed in seconds. Lei Bin looked at the rapidly condensed blue light ball and knew that Li Shuibao, a waste, had provided him with false information. Didn't you say that his race is only invincible in melee combat? Then tell me what is the terrible blue light ball? Hearing Lei Bin's angry questioning, Li Shuibao was also stunned. Because from all the information he collected, the Saiyan civilization created by Zhang Hao only showed a strong desire to fight and terrible melee capabilities. It is impossible to fight at a distance. Even when killing the magic suit warrior, all fists are used. He didn't use any long-range means at all, so he felt that if Zhang Hao faced the dragon civilization, he would definitely end up in a disastrous defeat. However, the blue light ball that appeared in Amosi's hand overturned his cognition. What is this? There is no extraordinary energy. Why can you use a magic-like attack, and this attack is much stronger than magic? No need to chant. What kind of attack is this? Both Li Shuibao and Lei Bin were stunned. Fortunately, Lei Bin reacted quickly, and when Amosi started to condense the light ball, he had already given the order to retreat. Even so, a silver-ranked flying dragon was shot dead on the spot. Looking at the 3 dead silver dragons, Lei Bin's expression turned ugly. Every silver-ranked giant dragon is extremely powerful in combat. Unexpectedly, Amosi instantly killed 3 of them in one encounter. But now he is on the verge of breaking out and has no choice but to send it. So he dispatched his strongest fighting force. Gold-level dragon. The golden flying dragon is not only twice the size of the silver rank, but also has too many bumps on its body, making it look even more ferocious. Seeing the 3 golden dragons approaching rapidly, Amosi put away the contempt on his face. Combat power 4,000. Then the value of the dragon breath they sprayed may exceed 20,000, so even now Amosi has to face up to it. Artificial moon. Close black lens bracket. Great ape. 6,000 x 10. 60,000. In Lei Bin's sight, Amosi's height skyrocketed, and then disappeared from his sight. But this disappearance is not really disappearing, but the speed has exceeded the limit that his retina can capture. Not good. At this moment, the giant dragon flying in the front, its huge dragon head seemed to be hit by a meteorite, and it was too late to let out a scream. He got an uppercut from Amosi and smashed his head with a punch. Died on the spot, even without using qigong bombs. The huge gap in strength between the 2 sides could not be made up by him relying on long-range battles. Not only did he lose, but he lost completely. Just when he was dazed, Amosi appeared on another flying dragon. The huge fist waved suddenly. Bang! A deep pit with a radius of about 30 meters appeared on the ground. The huge flying dragon wailed in pain on the ground. At this time Lei Bin finally realized. You win. He has already lost a golden dragon, and it would be unimaginable for him to lose another dragon. Then the familiar picture reappeared. 10 well-trained Saiyan slaves carried out a bandit-like raid on Lei Bin's planet. But Zhang Hao didn't do it. After all, he and Lei Bin are not sworn enemies. As for Li Shuibao, anyway, he didn't intend to let him go, so it was better to beat him back to his original shape, so as not to keep troubles for him. And now Li Shuibao was stunned. Unexpectedly, even Lei Bin from Jincheng No. 1 middle school was defeated. He didn't know who else could defeat Zhang Hao. And now Li Shuibao, no matter how stupid he is aware of it. Zhang Hao's civilization far from standing still. Instead, he was ahead of everyone. And now Zhang Hao is happily counting the spoils this time. Lei Bin deserves to be the man at the top. In such a short period of time, 8 planets have been conquered, and they have been crushed all the way. Without Zhang Hao, then he is very likely to be the first person in this final assessment. But unfortunately he met Zhang Hao. This assessment can only stop here. And his 8 points will be automatically added to Zhang Hao's points. I lost this time. It won't be the case next time. Lei Bin controlled the giant dragon and said to Amosi, who was standing there, with a calm tone. After all, as the number 1 in Jincheng number 1 middle school, he is not too weak to lose. A defeat in battle does not shake him. Amosi didn't speak, but nodded indifferently. Because Zhang Hao was shocked by the resources in front of him at this moment. How do you feel that this Lei Bin has the potential to be a robber? And at this time, Li Shuibao had already petrified. But looking at the triumphant Zhang Hao, throwing away the low-quality resources of his planet, he kept talking. What kind of rubbish is this? So get ready to put all your eggs in one basket. Interstellar communication is on. I am Li Shuibao from the Li family in Zhongbei. Today, as long as someone can conquer Zhang Hao's planet, not only will he be able to get all the resources on it, but as long as he participates in the Star War against Zhang Hao, he will get the attention of the Li family. As long as you kill one of Zhang Hao's subordinates, you can get 1 million star coins, and you can get 5 million star coins directly by killing his subordinate captain. As long as you can destroy Zhang Hao's civilization, you can get the general manager of the Li family branch, identity of. Now Li Shuibao has gone completely crazy and started inciting other students to beat Zhang Hao. A personal feud from the beginning. It became a battle of his dignity for Li Shuibao. Other students heard what Li Shuibao said. The expression on his face changed. After all, this is an opportunity to directly approach the big tree of the Li family, and this is completely within the scope of the rules. Because the rules of Star Wars are, there are no restrictions. The simulation is the real battlefield. As Li Shuibao announced the coordinates of Zhang Hao's planet, the remaining dozens of civilizations are all converging towards Zhang Hao's planet. Regardless of whether it is for the reward in Li Shuibao's sky. At the moment Zhang Hao's Vegeta has become the center of the storm. Some are to destroy Zhang Hao's Saiyan civilization, and some are to hunt and kill other people who come to hear the news. The star field where Zhang Hao is now has become a melee zone. At this moment, Lu Ruyan was looking for the next target planet, and when she heard Li Shuibao's words, she frowned slightly. Later, a space bridge was established to Zhang Hao's Vegeta planet. Chapter 24. Hearing Li Shuibao's words, Zhang Hao frowned. Although anger arose in his heart, he also knew that this was within the scope of the rules. Even if you are angry in your heart, there is nothing you can do. And now he has begun to think about whether to withdraw from the battle. Before the battle begins, trainees can choose to voluntarily withdraw. But as soon as the fight starts, then there is no choice but to wait for the battle to end. Although there are at most 3-star bridges open, as long as those students come for Li Shuibao's reward, then the battle will only start. It is impossible to stop. Either Zhang Hao's Saiyan civilization is conquered, or the Saiyan civilization conquers all hostile planets. Zhang Hao looked up at the current list, and now there are 36 students left. In other words, in the worst case, Zhang Hao needs to be enemies of 36 civilizations, and most of them are powerful civilizations that have transformed into intermediate energy. After all, fighting till now, none of the civilizations that can survive the war is weak. At least they are awakened planets, super geniuses over 40 kilometers away. Thinking of this, Zhang Hao suddenly felt the pressure. Even if these students won't all join the battlefield, half of them will be 18 powerful civilizations. Do you want to quit? Looking at Amosi with an indifferent expression, Zhang Hao thought to himself. Amosi, my god. Amosi straightened his face and bowed his head slightly. Saiyan civilization will face an unprecedented crisis in a while. Countless civilizations will come to attack Vegeta. This war is very difficult and may even cause huge casualties, so I will give you a chance to choose. Anyone who dares to invade the territory of our god is Saiyan's enemy, and all enemies will be trampled under the feet of Saiyan civilization. Amosi's face was indifferent, but his tone was extremely firm. At this time, Zhang Hao finally found out. I seem to have entered a misunderstanding. If I am afraid of war, I am afraid of difficulties. So, the subhuman civilization has long been destroyed by other civilizations. It is also impossible to grow into a terrible civilization that can destroy 2 universes. So Zhang Hao made an almost crazy decision. Fight. No matter how many civilizations are present, Zhang Hao will not withdraw. If Zhang Hao withdraws this time, it will run counter to the development path of Saiyan civilization. Shortly after, the first star bridges began to appear. This is a highly developed technological civilization, and the combat power of the mechas on it has surpassed that of Kaza Star. Each has reached the level of a magic outfit. That is, even ordinary mechs have reached 1000 points of combat power. Then there is a white mecha with a height of 20 meters. There are 6 huge propulsion engines on the back of the mecha, giving people an exaggerated sense of power. What is held in the hand is not a gun, but a powerful high-frequency blade. Ordinary steel is in front of it, as brittle as a piece of paper. Coupled with the terrifying mobility of the mecha, its combat effectiveness has reached the gold level. Behind him, there are countless small automatic turrets pouring out from the star bridge inside, and at the other end of the star bridge is a warship with a length of 100 meters. At the same time, another night civilization also came to the end. Looking at the desolate Vegeta, his eyes were slightly wrinkled, and the giant sword in his hand was gripped even tighter. After all, when he came here, he felt his body sink, and his combat power was immediately weakened by 20%. The third star bridge is connected to a horror world, and there are some hideous and terrifying monsters emerging from it. The extraordinary energy transformed by this student is ghost energy. All built are monsters of some scary world. Zhang Hao even noticed the Gorgon inside. Gold-level monsters. Sure enough, none of the civilizations that can persist until now are weak. But at this moment, Amosi's charge was over. A light piercing the night. Open black lens bracket Qigong bomb close black lens bracket. I saw that the mecha at the forefront of the first technological civilization was instantly destroyed, and at the same time, the light ball also cleared all the automatic turrets behind the mecha. Finally, it passed through the star bridge and passed through the huge battleship at the other end. Under the horrified eyes of all the students, the lights on the battleship began to flicker frantically, and finally exploded under everyone's gaze. The highly developed civilization just now was instantly destroyed, and the entire star field fell silent, and then everyone expressed their thoughts in shock. How is this possible? What was that ball of light just now? How is it more outrageous than the attack power of the positron cannon? Is it magic? Is it magic? Or is it a means of cultivating civilization? Impossible. At the current stage, how can there be a civilization with such an attack power, which is equivalent to destroying the invading planet with one blow? Too exaggerated. What the hell is this? Quote. Amosi slowly put away the great ape, and then issued a plunder order to the subordinate team behind him. If they resist, they will be beaten until they dare not resist. Then Amosi rushed to those strange civilizations full of monsters. The terrifying monsters that outsiders saw fell down like wheat. As for the Gorgon, Amosi of Great Ape also instantly wiped out them with Qigong bombs. But no matter how strong Amosi and others are, the number of enemies is still too much, and the knights with great swords have already begun to charge Vegeta's fortress. Although some were shot and killed by self-defense turrets, some still rushed to the wall. Without any hesitation, Amosi rushed to the battlefield like a cannonball. No knight can resist an attack from Amosi. War turned to massacre. As the giant sword in the knight captain's hand was smashed by Amosi's punch, he flew upside down more than 10 meters and was killed instantly. It was also announced that the Saiyan civilization had won the first attack. Then the entire star field fell silent, and I couldn't believe my eyes. Before entering this star field, these students had already learned everything about Zhang Hao. A planet without potential. Although the civilization has developed to have silver-level combat units, it is too weak in front of geniuses like them. There is no extraordinary energy. Impossible to become stronger. This is the iron law of this universe. That's why they trouble Zhang Hao with great fanfare. After all, Vegeta has not transformed extraordinary energy, that is to say. Zhang Hao's civilization is in front of them. Simply not enough to watch. But the scene in front of them completely overturned their cognition. At this time they have to think, can such a terrible Saiyan civilization really be defeated by them? But not long after the battle ended, another civilization built a star bridge to Vegeta. After all, there must be a brave man under the reward. The battle is still going on, and the subordinates who only have silver-level strength can only rely on the great ape to support them. And Amosi. Then he ran indifferently on the 3 battlefields. After Zhang Hao wiped out 9 civilizations, several familiar figures emerged from the newly built new bridge. Cultivate civilization. Zhang Hao looked at the scene in front of him, thinking in his heart, and then suddenly thought of something. This is the gifted girl of Weicheng number 1 middle school, Lu Ruyan. Chapter 25. Lu Ruyan is a talented girl in Weicheng number 1 middle school. Strength is naturally beyond doubt. As for Zhang Hao, because it is a neighboring satellite city, I also understand it. She knew that Saiyan's melee strength was terrifying, but she didn't expect that even in long-distance combat, she could display such terrifying combat effectiveness. But she still stepped into the battlefield. But Zhang Hao looked at the immortal cultivators slowly pouring in. Each of them holds various magic weapons in their hands, shining brightly. Immortal cultivation civilization. After passing the previous weak period, the fighting power can be called terrifying, and the attack methods are ever-changing, so it is very tricky to deal with. It can be said that Zhang Hao is willing to face the dragon civilization instead of confronting Lu Ruyan's cultivation civilization. But 2 people now stand on the same battlefield. Zhang Hao, I'm not here for Li Shuibao's reward, nor for uniting them to attack your civilization. It was Ruyan Lu who spoke first. Then you were here. Zhang Hao was puzzled, and didn't understand what Lu Ruyan meant for a while. Even if I really want to start Star Wars with you, I won't bully the less with more. I'm here for them. Lu Ruyan controlled a female immortal cultivator, looked at the sky, and said to a Mosi who was standing in the center of the battlefield. You can't get all of these people's points by yourself. Hearing Ruyan Lu's words, Zhang Hao was stunned. I'll help you guard the 3rd star bridge. I'm occupying the 1st star bridge now. You only need to face the invaders from the 2nd planet. Now, except for a few people, almost all the students frantically flocked to Zhang Hao's planet for Li Shuibao's reward. Therefore, as long as you can be in Vegeta, you can have a steady stream of points. Hearing Ruyan Lu's words, Zhang Hao thought for a while. Nodded. Because no matter how strong Saiyan's fighting power is, there will be times when he is tired, and others can make countless mistakes, but if Zhang Hao's civilization goes back to the beginning, it is really possible to become an ordinary person in Li Shuibao's sky. So having such a powerful support as Lu Ruyan really solved Zhang Hao's urgent need. It is good. Zhang Hao only said one word. Then the battle continued to break out, but with Lu Ruyan's participation, the battle became easier. And Zhang Hao found out. Lu Ruyan's fighting strength seemed to be stronger than that of Lei Bin just now. Because Lu Ruyan's methods of cultivation and civilization attacks are all kinds of strange, not only including close combat, long range, and even auxiliary spells. Therefore, the overall combat power is stronger than that of Lei Bin, who has the dragon civilization. After all, although dragons are powerful, their attack methods are relatively simple in the early stage. But comprehension civilization is a civilization in which 100 flowers bloom. All kinds of skills, secret methods, magic weapons, secret treasures, and even elixirs. Various kinds. So at Vegeta, there is a state where the cultivating civilization and the Saiyan civilization are fighting against each other. On one side is the physically terrifying Saiyan with terrifying combat power. On the other side is the cultivating civilization with gorgeous moves and ever-changing attack methods. At this time, a gold-level warrior from the warrior civilization just entered Vegeta, and was startled by Vegeta's gravity. Immediately, I felt that my strength was suppressed a lot. Just when he was about to look for those powerful Saiyans, he found that what appeared in front of him was actually a group of handsome men and women with swords on their backs. Why are those cultivating immortal civilization here? But before he could think about it, a giant net covered the sky, followed by fierce attacks from other immortal cultivators. This warrior is dead. I didn't even think about it. Didn't my god say that what I was facing was a warrior with a strong body? How could it be a cultivator? Why did Ruyan Lu from Weicheng help Zhang Hao? She is not helping Zhang Hao, but for herself. Don't you forget that the results of this assessment are based on a points system. Most of the testers now have gone to Zhang Hao's star field, ready to attack his planet, so as long as they wait on his planet, they can get a steady stream of points. But isn't she breaking the rules? Interstellar melee, there are no rules at all. Another hour passed. Looking at the mountains of resources, Zhang Hao showed a satisfied smile. This assessment, Let him harvest countless resources, not only energy and minerals, but also technology and exercises. Now he's rich enough to make everyone mad with envy. Of course, there is another person who also gained countless resources and benefits from this trial. Lu Ruyan. Lu Ruyan looked at her own planet and was very happy in her heart, so she spoke to Zhang Hao. It's a pleasure to cooperate, and I hope to have such an opportunity next time. After finishing speaking, he left Vegeta gracefully. And the evaluation of this assessment has already had the result. First place, Zhang Hao, with 98 points. Second place, Ruyan Lu, with 54 points. Third place, Zhang Wen, 28 points. Open black lens bracket. Fourth place, close black lens bracket. In the end, Zhang Hao won the first place in the final assessment with a score of 98 points. When Zhang Hao's results came out, everyone was stunned. Zhang Hao won the first place. Isn't his planet without development potential? Do you still feel that way? It can defeat Song Yuanchao, and then defeat Lei Bin with a crushing attitude. I thought it would be Jincheng's Lei Bin and Weicheng's Lu Ruyan who would win the first place. I didn't expect that it would be Zhang Hao, who was considered a waste star by everyone, and won the championship of the final assessment. What a surprise. Now Zhang Hao's civilization is already a powerful civilization that can rival the top civilizations. I don't understand why he can still grow even though he doesn't have extraordinary energy, and can even emit that terrifying blue light ball. The entire assessment venue was excited because Zhang Hao won the championship. At this moment, Li Shuibao directly exited the stage sadly. This time he united so many civilizations, but still failed to defeat Zhang Hao. Now he no longer knew that there was any way to limit his growth. As for Zhang Hao, as soon as he walked out of the Star Wars opening room, he immediately became the focus of the audience. All eyes were on him. Anyone who has read Zhang Hao's information knows that the planet Zhang Hao first awakened to is a real waste planet. But he gave birth to life on his planet in an incredible way. Later his planet was judged to have no growth potential. But he slapped everyone who mocked him with reality. It can be said, Zhang Hao's journey is equivalent to a legend. Then came out of the Star Wars opening room, Lu Ruyan from Weicheng. Although she didn't get the first place, she got more resources than the first place in previous years, and the genius who participated in the final assessment this time was the sum of 10 satellite cities. She was able to finish second. Already very rare. And even if you finish second, you can get a generous reward. The first place in this assessment, Zhang Hao, please come to the stage to receive your reward. So Zhang Hao walked onto the stage under everyone's gaze. 500 points of essence liquid, Qingbei University's 10-day experience card, and 2 million star coins. Hearing this award, even Zhang Hao, who has always been calm, was taken aback. The Qingbei University experience card is the highest institution that countless awakened people yearn for. And there are a full 500 points of original power. With such a generous reward, it's no wonder every genius wants to win the first place. As for the second place, Ruyan Lu, I also got 300 original liquids and 1 million star coins, along with an experience card from Qingbei University. This is the prerogative of the top 3. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.